Good evening, everyone. Hello. Hi. Welcome to Willingness Wednesday. I am your coach, BVon Squires, and today we are sponsored by Spirit Source Connection. I'm truly excited to be here tonight. Last week I was a little under the weather, and so I had to do the best I could to bring you at least something. That's why we had the PowerPoint last week, but here I am in the flesh. So excited and really can't wait to bring you this information that I have for you tonight. Over the past week, I thought, let me see, what should we talk about? And so I prayed and I meditated because, that's what I like to do. And as I was looking through my Audible list, I saw Deepak Chopra, and he has a book out called The Seven Spiritual Laws of Success. And I thought, well, that sounds pretty exciting and interesting. I like to do series so that we can build upon the information. And I just really respect Deepak Chopra so much for his understanding of the spiritual realm and who we are as spiritual beings. And I just really can't wait to get this information out to you. So before we go any further, I just want to say if you are new, you are welcome here. This is a safe place. And if you are returning, thank you so much for your love and your support. You know, I couldn't do this without you, and I'm just so honored. And so, yeah, I find it such a privilege that you allow me to be your coach. Thank you so much for returning. Okay, so I'm going to jump right in because we have so much to cover today. Okay, I'm going to be doing a little reading because, of course, who has time to remember all of this stuff? And so, why should I remember it when I have it right here available to me? So, I want to first start off by saying this message today is for people who are committed to spiritual growth, those who have tried everything and still feel somewhat unfulfilled in your life. Do you ever experience anxiety when you have to make life's decisions? Well, I want to tell you that you are not alone. If you are the one that is lacking meaning and the internal dialogue just won't slow down, you just can't catch a break, there's always something in your subconscious going on in your mind to keep you distracted and keep you disconnected from the integral part of who you are, which is your spirit, because we are spiritual beings and we are multidimensional. And so that's the other thing that I love about Deepak is because he always speaks to the multidimensional facet of who we are as spiritual beings. And so thank you so much for allowing me to bring this information to you. Okay, so I encourage you, right, to continue to listen, continue to watch this video as I share with you what I have gleaned from Deepak Chopra's first spiritual law called pure potentiality. Ooh, coach, that sounds exciting. Well, it is. And I can't wait to tell you all about it. Okay, so we're going to ask. First of all, I want to tell you that there are a couple of things that I want to get on the table so we're all working from the same knowledge base. I like to do definitions and just kind of take words and look at them so we all know what they mean. Of course, we can use them in a sentence, right? But we need a little bit more because we're highly effective, multidimensional spiritual beings. So here we go. What is success? All right, so success, although material abundance, right? Material abundance, we're talking about cars, jewelry, houses, that sort of thing. Although those make the journey more enjoyable, success also includes other things like good health. It includes energy and enthusiasm for life, fulfilling relationships, creative forum, emotional and psychological stability, and a sense of well-being, peace of mind. Ooh, that peace of mind just can't be bought with money. You know what I'm saying? But that's a form of success as well. And so, even with the experience of all these things, we will remain unfulfilled if we do not nurture the essence of who we are, which is our spirit. So, what is law? Okay, in this sense, law is the process by which the unmanifested becomes manifested. It is everything that exists in the physical world is a result of the unmanifested transforming itself into the manifested. And what I'm saying is things exist in the spiritual realm, right? In the realm that we cannot see, we cannot touch, we cannot feel. Well, I mean, we can feel it through our spirits, obviously, but the unmanifested realm is where things begin, and then they are manifested into the physical realm. So the law is what allows that to happen. Basically, it says if you do this, this is what you're going to achieve. If you follow these directions, then you are going to, in turn, get the thing that you're actually after. Okay. And so, as we continue to move forward, we'll talk a little bit more about that. So, let's see, what is pure potentiality? Ooh, finally, we get to the big question. What is pure potentiality, coach? Okay, the first spiritual law of success is a law of potentiality. This law is based on the fact that we are in an essential state of pure consciousness. Pure consciousness is pure potentiality. Okay, it is the field of possibilities and infinite creativity. Other attributes of our consciousness are pure knowledge, unboundedness. Ooh, I like that, unboundedness. Perfect balance, infinite silence, invincibility, simplicity, and bliss. These are all concepts of who we are in our pure consciousness. Our essential nature. Our essential nature is one of pure potentiality. When you discover your essential nature and you know who you are, I mean, like, know deep down inside who you are, then knowing itself is the ability to fulfill any dream that you have because you are eternally possible. There is nothing that you cannot achieve once you find out who you really are as a spiritual being. Once you understand that the feelings you feel can't kill you, okay, so I'm feeling some feelings that are uncomfortable. I'll get past those feelings and continue to move forward because that is who I am. Intrinsically, that's who I am. Okay, and so as we continue to move forward, we understand that as we spend more time with who we are, the essential part of who we are, we become closer to the field of pure potentiality. Now, there are two concepts Deepak talked about in his book. One of these is object referral, right? And so what this means is when we refer ourselves to the objects around us, those things that we can touch and feel, people, places, things, situations, circumstances, events. When we attach ourselves to those, then we are basically acting out of ego, right? But the ego is not who we really are. The ego is our self-image, right? It's our social mask that we put on, right? It's our social mask that wants approval. Woo, this was so good. Our social mask wants approval. The social mask wants to look good. It wants to sound good. It wants to feel good. It wants control. Our social mask wants to have power because it lives in the fear of the ego. See, our intrinsic nature is not one of fear. It's not one of approval seeking. That is the ego that does that. Okay? So now, also in the objective referral, always looking for to be influenced by objects outside the self, right? We consistently seek approval of others. Our thinking and behavior is always in anticipation of a response. So we can't even listen properly when we're in our state of object referral. We're listening so that we can respond to something. We are always looking to react to the next stimulus, the next event, the next situation, the next circumstance, the next word, if you will. And so if you look at object referral, we also feel an intense need to control things. Now, when we feel an intense need for power, but if you look at it, that's really not power. That's really not power. That's all based on ego. And so this type of power is usually only meant to control others. And if you're afraid, if you were unafraid, then you wouldn't need to control. You wouldn't need this power so that you could rule over others. The other thing about objective referral is the information that you're getting is from the ego, is from the lens of fear. It's from the lens of what if this happens? Oh my God, I better do this now so that that won't happen to change the situation. See, so it's always in fear. It's always reactionary. This type of power that the ego wants, or that the ego is only available for, is that type of power that comes along with money, property, prestige, those things that when the job is gone, guess what? The power is gone. When the money's gone, guess what? The power is gone. And when no one likes you anymore, guess what? The power is truly gone. And that's all because it is temporary and it's based on the ego. So, what I want to help you to see here is that the other part is self referral. Now, this is where you refer to the intrinsic part of who you are. This is when you are identifying with your spirit nature. So, self referral means that our internal reference point is our own spirit and not the object of our experiences, like those things that I mentioned to you, the cars and the job and the money and the relationship. These are just objects of our experience. And so we don't want to be tied to them, because when those situations change, like they always do, we are going to be in an emotional upheaval and a lot of turbulence going on in our inner environment. So we don't want that, right? We want to make sure that we're spending time with our intrinsic spiritual nature. Now, the true self, which is your spirit, your soul, is completely free of the ego type of power. It's not thinking about money. It's not thinking about power and prestige. It's not thinking about controlling anyone, right? It is immune to criticism. It is unfearful of any challenge and feels beneath no one. Woo-wee, now that is some power right there. When you have enough confidence in yourself, when you can stand in your own truth and not feel the need to compare yourself to another person, when you can stand in your own truth and not have to feel like there's not enough going around, that scarcity mentality is not where you're coming from. Now that is true power. That is true power, and it is the true essence of who you are. And so I want to help you to understand that each of us is a spirit, okay? Each of us has been created in the same way. We all have a spirit. We have a mind, we have a body, we are multidimensional. And so if you are coming from a spirit reference, right, your self-reference, there's no need to compare yourself to the next person, because you already know that you are the same as the next person. The only difference is what we look like on the outside. The only difference is the disguise that we wear, the makeup, the hair, the jewelry, the clothes. All of these is what gives the ego its social face. But underneath that, in the self referral, we are all the same. We're all spiritual beings having a human experience, right? We're all wanting to be loved, to be seen, to have a meaningful, fulfilling life. We all want the same things. And so there's no need to feel that separation. There's no need to see ourselves as different from the next person when we are in self referral. That's just how confident you're going to be when you're able to walk in this self referral. There won't be a need to compare yourself to anyone else. So, I know you want to know, how do you access this field of pure potentiality, coach? Well, I'm here to tell you how you can access this, okay? Now, how we access the law of pure potentiality and the field of all possibilities is by meditation. Now, I know you guys hear me talk about meditation a whole lot. And so what I want to help you to understand is that meditation will allow you to quiet yourself. There has to be a time where you just take time out to get quiet. Take time out to feel the energy that's inside of you. Take time out to get to know who you are as a spiritual being. And so this is one way that you can that you can access the field of pure potentiality. Because what happens is, in that stillness, in that quietness, is the pure potentiality of the self referral. And when you are quiet and your mind is not racing, then you have access to that. Okay. The other thing I want you to know is that when you are able to be silent, silence is another way to train your mind to think in terms of space. Let me explain what that means. Behind and before each thought, there should be space, because it's in that quiet space in between each of those thoughts that we are connected to the pure potential of our intrinsic being. But when we're thinking about what's going on, analyzing this, taking time to judge situations as good or bad, what happens is we start thinking so quickly that we're actually shortening the space in between our thoughts. And it's causing a lot of turbulence within ourselves. And as we shorten this space between the thoughts, we're actually kicking ourselves out of the pure potentiality. That field is in between the thoughts. It's in the quietness of who we are. It's in the silence that we feel in our minds when we do our meditation. What I want to help you to understand here is, when you can spend some time alone, I'm talking no television, no radio, no reading the books, because even if you're reading the books, you're engaging with the author. You see, you're listening, you're reading what he's saying, your mind is going, you're imagining things, and that's not quite quiet, is it? No. Even though you're not speaking, that's still not quiet in your mind. And even now that you're listening to this audio, you are still engaged with me because you're listening as I'm speaking. And so what I'm talking about is just quiet. Even if you have to tell yourself, for 2 hours today, I am going to just be quiet. Now, of course, when you try this, your mind is going to go crazy. There's so much you're going to want to have to say. You're going to, oh, I need to call so and so. Oh, I need to check on this. All sorts of excuses to run your mouth or to pick up a book, or something will arise because it's so unnatural from what you're used to. But I'm telling you, if you will take a moment to get yourself quiet and allow yourself time to connect to the intrinsic part of who you are on the inside, you will be better off for it. I have been doing this for a long time now. I didn't even really know it was a thing. It was just something that I've enjoyed doing. I live alone. I'm always praying, always meditating. And I think that I started becoming really silent once I learned how to meditate, because I knew that I couldn't really hear from God or hear from my higher source if my mind was engaged in other things. And so I began to take some time to just be silent. And so that's what I'm asking you to take time to do, so that you can access the field of pure potentiality. It's going to come within your silence. There's another thing I want to tell you, is that practicing silence, making a commitment to take a certain amount of time to simply explore silence and not speak to anyone, okay, not engage in any way. Now, of course, you are going to be judging, what someone's saying and all of that. And that's why you don't want any kind of engagement whatsoever. You want your mind to just be still, not to be thinking about anything, right? Because, like I was saying, judging and all of that, ciphering and all of that, calculating and all of that, whether it's good or bad, happy, sad, all of these sorts of things causes a turbulence in your inner environment. And this turbulence is what can shut down your access to the pure potentiality, right? And the creativity that actually comes from that space as well. Now, according to Deepak, practicing non-judgment is another way to experience the law of pure potentiality, because to judge is to, here we go, this is what I was trying to say. To judge is to constantly evaluate and classify things as right or wrong, good or bad. And when you're constantly evaluating and classifying and labeling and analyzing, this creates the turbulence in your inner dialogue. And you have this created turbulence in your inner dialogue. It restricts the flow of energy between you and the field of pure potentiality. So through silence, through meditation, and through non-judgment, you can access the first law of pure potentiality, right? And once you start doing that, once you're able to do that on a regular basis, once your self-discipline kicked in, and now you're doing this regularly, now it becomes a habit of yours, then you can add in the fourth way to access the field of pure potentiality, which is a connection with nature. Now, whether this is through the forest, a stream, a mountain, maybe going by a lake or the seashore, however you want to connect to nature, this connection with nature's intelligence will also help you access the field of potentiality. Now, as we wrap up, I'm so glad to be able to bring this information to you. Now, of course, if there's something about this you don't understand, or something that you want to ask me about, you can do that. You can call me, because I'm your coach and I'm always available here for you. You can dial me at 317-721-4315, or you can email me at b.vonsquires@gmail.com. And I'm here to help you understand all about this spiritual law of pure potentiality. It also goes on to talk more about wealth and money, and how we don't need to be afraid of money, and how we don't need to have anxiety about not having our needs met. Because as long as we can access this part of us, the intrinsic part of who we are, the pure potentiality is our intrinsic nature. And all we have to do is just be. We restrict ourselves more than anything. And when we are able to understand this and just be who we are, just be who God created us to be, there are no limits to what we can achieve. There is no limit to the wealth and the material things that come to our lives. Because we do not believe this, because we are operating from a mindset of scarcity, or a mindset of just doubt. That's why we don't have the life that we want. If we would just relax and allow ourselves to just be, if we would just relax and connect our spiritual selves to the God of our understanding, to the source, then we will get what we need in order to just live a life that's intrinsic to our true nature. We are pure potentiality. And when we understand who we are, then we come that much closer to accessing the pure potentiality, which is who we are. Oh my goodness, this was such a wonderful message. I'm so happy that I chose. Well, you know what? I say I chose, but I do also know that when I'm meditating and I hear information, it's coming from a higher source. It's not necessarily coming from me. It's coming from a higher source. And so I'm grateful that I was prompted to read this book and to bring this information to you tonight. And so as we move forward, next week, we're going to be talking about the second spiritual law of success. And it's talking about giving. Actually, it should be called giving and receiving, because giving and receiving are both two sides of the same coin. And so I will be talking all about that next week. I am so excited that you are here. Thank you so much for joining me. And in the meantime, I'm going to ask God to bless you real good. And I tell you what, if you go back and listen to this video, I want you to go back and listen at how simple it is for you to access the field of pure potentiality and creativity. You can access it just through being quiet, non-judging, and meditating. So each day when you wake up, I want you to tell yourself and tell your mind Today, we're not judging anything. We're not judging our feelings. We're not judging another individual. We're not judging the process. We are not judging today, because when I'm judging and when you're judging, we are cut off from our pure potentiality. And when we are cut off from that pure potentiality, we have the propensity to act out in our objective referral, which is the ego. And nothing but fear comes from that place. So, thank you again. Have a wonderful, wonderful, beautiful willingness Wednesday. And I will look forward to seeing you again next Wednesday at 7:15 p.m. right here, where we'll talk about spiritual law number 2, which is giving. All right, guys, thank you so much. And I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.